Well, I just finished all my midterms. Probably passed most of them. So I'm back. I know, I promise a video a week. And it's only the second week, so there should be 2 videos. There's not. You can spank me later. I'm a sucker for punishment. A glutton, one might say. I started this week with the character controller. So the base for the character controller is completely done. The character can now sprint, jump, and dash, as well as walk forward, backward, left, and right, and look in any direction he wants, and that direction is still forward. After making a movement script and a stat script for the player, I decided that I wanted to get started on the main mechanic of the game right away. That main mechanic being, of course, the robot customization that I talked about last week in DevCloak 0. If you didn't catch that video, feel free to go back and skim through it. After thinking about all the different ways that I could get through the modularization of the robot character, I decided I'd just instantiate different body parts in their proper spot. The right arm just kind of spawns where the right arm would be in relation to a empty game object. An empty game object, if you don't know in Unity, it's a game object that has no mesh, no really anything. It just kind of holds transform. It's like a point in the air. And you can child other objects underneath it, making the game object the parent. So then if I move that game object, all those little pieces that are attached to it will move with it. I got through instantiating the body parts in their proper spot, and I decided that the best way to go about their animation was to use procedural animation, but that actually turned out to be a utterly horrible idea, and the attempt resulted in this. So animation is on the back burner for now because I'm bad at it. But it means that I can't mass produce robot parts until I get a little better. I'm going to be practicing that throughout the week, so I won't just be getting rid of it. I just need to get a little better. I decided I was going to add a simple pause and play mechanic. It was pretty helpful because, a nice nasty bug's happening, I can just hit pause and just stare at it. I kept feeling bad for that little pitiful snake worm thing that I had made a couple weeks ago, and I decided to pour most of my energy this week into him. I broke down the snake AI into kind of phases and behaviors. Each behavior is just a function, so then I decided to make a bunch of these, and I made a bite, a kind of spit poison, spray poison into the air, kind of a chase one, and then one that kind of goes to random points throughout the room that it's in, and whenever it does that, it leaves behind a poison trail. So after I made all these different behaviors, I made it so that they're kind of sectioned off to each of their own phases. So phase 1 only really has the bite, spit, and leave a poison trail after wandering around. And then the second phase adds a dive attack where he kind of the snake jumps into the air and kind of goes at you like a little tidal wave, and actually looks really nice. And then the third phase adds the spraying the poison into the air. The other thing that happens whenever you go up in a phase is the original attacks like the bite and the chase and the wandering around, they all get buffs in their speed and damage. So rather than just being able to kind of walk away from the snake chasing you, now you're going to have to actually kind of sprint away and dodge attacks by the third phase. I was thinking about maybe adding a tail attack as well, but I'm not quite sure how I would design it because the way that I have the snake designed is the head is already in the game, and then as soon as the game starts, the the little body parts kind of all spawn in behind it, and they each have a script to follow the one ahead of it, and they chain. So because of that, I'm not quite exactly sure how I get the back one to be the one to whip around. Plus, it works a lot like how the old Centipede game works, like the one in old arcades, where if you shoot the head, it takes a bit of the health away, and in relation to the health is the length of the body. If you hit anywhere that's not the head, it can spawn more body parts, which would further complicate the tail attack. Besides that though, I also wanted to add a burrow attack and a poison spray attack, but I think I'm going to get back to those later. After I've used all those like behaviors and section them off by their phases. What happens is once you lose enough health and you get to these like lower phases, they're scaled up, and then it just adds more of these attacks into the pool that it can pick from. I ended up destroying the script a couple times and having to restart because I screwed the pooch a little bit, and I spent a little bit of time trying to unscrew the pooch and the dicks out of the pooch, but its asshole is still gaping. So that's about it for this week. My goal for next week was to make a couple stages and randomly choose between them. But the way that I originally wanted it done was kind of like this. A random start square is essentially spawned, and the player goes on it, and then there's like a random arena that's picked and a random boss. So then you get these like two in a combination where it randomly picks an arena and it randomly picks a boss, and then those are like stuck together. I was sitting in my coding class, and my professor said that our next assignment was to make a procedural walk program. And I thought it might be pretty fun to just kill two birds with one stone this week. And rather than designing a procedural walk and then like designing this different version of a stage builder, I decided why not just build the procedural walk for Unity. The way that it'll work this way is it will have a start point in the middle, and it will either go up, right, left, or down, and it'll spawn hallways in between them, and then a couple smaller rooms, things like puzzles and that type of stuff. Then every now and then it'll spawn a boss room, and the boss room will be like a random arena, and then inside that random arena will be a random boss. So still same concept as before, except rather than being like, oh, I killed the boss, now I'm gonna like spawn the next one, it's less loading screens as you go through. That's what I'll be working on this upcoming week, so expect that. Anyways, thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more development. That's about it. See ya.